Hello everybody, a Kinder Surprise is probably the most desirable sweet for any children that you can buy in the supermarket. Although I don't think that any adults would turn it down either. So let's open up the Kinder. In fact, it's just an egg made with chocolate. Rather, of two types, milk and white. And inside it has a yellow capsule that you can find a toy in when you open it. Maybe it just seems like it to me, but these toys were much more interesting in my childhood. Over the past 6 months, I've been thinking in detail about how to make a giant Kinder Surprise so that it turns out to be perfect, just like a factory-made one. And finally, I came up with it. Please give this video your likes in advance, and now let's start. Have you ever wondered how chocolate was made? There are whole plantations where cocoa fruits are grown. We bought 4 of these ripe fruits. They are very large and cumbersome. We break it into 2 parts, and we see the white seeds inside. These are ripe cocoa beans, but to turn them into chocolate, they need to be processed for a long time. We transfer them to a wooden barrel, and cover them with saran wrap. The beans will be in this barrel for 7 days and fermented. Well, it's time to retrieve them. Excellent. Our cocoa beans have been fermented and smell pleasantly like vinegar. We take a dryer like this and put all our beans in it. We set it to 40 degrees and turn it on. That way they continue drying for another 7 days. A week has passed and the cocoa beans are dehydrated. But to make a giant Kinder, this is definitely not enough. So I bought some more dry cocoa beans. They look exactly like ours. These beans are raw, so we go outside and pour 2 bags of beans into the cauldron. We still need to chop wood. Let's open the stove and put some crumpled paper and small firewood into it. Kindle the fire. When it is flared up, we begin to mix the cocoa beans. That way they fry more evenly. After about 10 minutes of roasting, they begin to smell very tasty. Therefore, about 5 more minutes and you can check. The husks should easily come off the roasted cocoa beans. We remove them from the fire. The roasting stage has been passed. Now we take another bowl. We remove the shell from each cocoa bean. We break the core and transfer to the second bowl. We get these kind of cocoa nibs. We use this as the main raw material for making milk chocolate. We also bought a box like this. We open it, and inside we see a lot of cocoa butter. It looks and feels like an all-in-one laundry soap. So that it can be quickly melted later, we set it up with a knife. This is a very sticky process. Two hours later, we got a whole basin of finely crushed cocoa butter. In order to properly make chocolate, you need a machine called a mélanger. In fact, this is an electric mill with such stone millstones. We grind cocoa nibs, milk powder, sugar, and cocoa butter into it. We collect 1 kilogram of cocoa nibs and pour it into the mélanger. A full glass of powdered milk, a glass of sugar, and turn it on. All the ingredients are mixed and gradually ground into a more delicate powder. Add some cocoa butter. It will gradually warm up from friction and the mass will become. And now it just takes time. The grains will become smaller and smaller. In the meantime, let's turn on another machine called Marmite. It will heat the chocolate so that it remains a liquid. Fill it with water up to the maximum. We set it on 2 and turn it on. 2 hours have passed. The chocolate has become even thinner. To make it taste familiar to us, we add vanilla extract. And in factory chocolate, a powder called soy lecithin is used. We need to add quite a lot of it. It is completely harmless, and it is only made to use to make the chocolate more liquidy. The chocolate has been 3 hours in the melanger. We turn it off, and we pour it into the gastric capacity. The first portion of natural milk chocolate is ready. We put the tray into the Marmite so that the chocolate doesn't freeze. Now we load the next batch. This time, for the melanger to grind the cocoa nibs faster, we pour it in gradually. Then gradually pour in cocoa butter. When the mass has become a liquid, gradually it's sugar, milk powder, and other additives. We wait another 2.5 hours and pour the chocolate into our tray. And for the third time, we add more powdered milk and 4 hours of stirring. It turned out very nice, perfectly glossy milk chocolate. We also transfuse it. It took us 2 days to fill the tray to the brim. We mix all of these things together, and we're done. The next stage is tempering. You may ask, why is this necessary? I'll show you an example of 2 tiles. We filled one with melted chocolate, and the second with tempered. After solidification, we take them out. And the one that is just melted melts very quickly, remaining in your hands. But the tempered chocolate is glossy. To it, cocoa butter crystals are combined into a strong crystal lattice. Therefore, when you break it, there's a crunch. In order to temper a large volume of chocolate, we increase the heating. And constantly stirring, we heat the chocolate to 45 degrees. We get the tray out, and let's go outside. We put it onto a cold tile. Constantly stirring, literally in 15 minutes the chocolate should cool down to exactly 25 degrees. That's it, we return the chocolate back to the heat and heat it up to 31 degrees. This is the end of tempering. We will pour chocolate into such large egg halves. I ordered these forms 6 months ago at a factory in America, and now they have arrived. These forms cost 20,000 hryvnias, or 54,000 rubles. So we open the alcohol, pour it into the mold, and rub it around with a napkin. So that way it'll be perfectly clean and the chocolate will shine. Done. Now we send the forms to the freezer for 1 hour. They should be cool completely. Now that the molds are icy, we scoop up the chocolate, pour it into the mold, and distribute evenly. The chocolate seizes instantly. Fill it as evenly as possible so that there are even walls of the same thickness everywhere. We drain the excess chocolate back in. One more time, we put it into the freezer. And we fill in the forms again. And one more go around. The forms are always very heavy and you can't twist them in your hands, therefore we pour the chocolate along the walls and smear it around with a spatula. That way we filled up all the milk chocolate. But there is also a white one in Kinder, so let's do that. We need cocoa butter, milk powder, sugar, and soy lecithin, and of course a melanger. We collect a full measuring cup of cocoa butter. We turn on the melanger and begin to pour in very gradually. There is literally a third of a teaspoon of soy lecithin. We collect 700 grams of sugar and gradually pour it in. Well, we've got a full measuring cup of powdered milk. And now it just takes time. Grains of powdered milk and sugar will decrease and interfere with the butter. The correct consistency will be happening in 2 hours later. Pour our homemade white chocolate into the Marmite. We cooked white chocolate for 15 hours. And we also temper it. And we also pour that into the mold the same way. And smeared around with a spatula. We poured white chocolate in one very long approach. While you were smearing one form, the second one is time to freeze, so you can change them around like that. Now the chocolate egg halves are ready. Let's make an integral part of the Kinder Surprise, namely the yellow capsule. To do this, we bought a plastic barrel for 20 liters. We bend the fastenings for the handle and remove them. The barrel is shaped like a capsule, but not in color. Therefore, we unscrew it from the lid and take it to a safe place for painting. Shake the cans with spray paint and cover the barrel with yellow. We completely painted it in 3 approaches. Now we've got a big yellow capsule like that. In my opinion, it kind of looks like the original. What kind of gift will we put inside? I thought everything out in advance and I bought a big Bluetooth speaker on the internet. We open it up and put it inside, as well as wires and instructions. That's it, you can close it. We put our surprise in one of the Kinder halves. We take out the second one. Perfect. At first, we just melted the edge of the chocolate with a burner and tried to install the second half of the egg on top. But they did not dock, and there were very large gaps. Therefore, we take out the other half. With a knife, we cut off the uneven edge. And try it again. This way it worked out more or less pretty smooth. And to glue these 2 halves together, we pass the white chocolate along the joint. Now our Kinder is ready. But what kind of Kinder would it be without colorful packaging? To make that, we take the molds again and line the foil on top of them, gluing each layer with double-sided tape. Next, you need acrylic paints, rollers, brushes, and pencils. First, you need to make a red and white background. And then we apply multicolored inscriptions. In my opinion, it turned out really nice. So we put the lower part of the wrapper on the floor, carefully lower our Kinder into it, and together with the foil, we lift it back up. We put the other half of the package on top. We connect the planes and fix it with a stapler. Hi everybody, I think that many of you have tried this kind of Kinder Bueno bar. Let's open it up. We're gonna make the exact same one, just in a big size. But first you need to try it. On the outside we have chocolate, then a waffle layer with nut paste, and then the cream itself, which is also pretty nutty. The first thing we need is a big, huge mold. Our dad's gonna make it for us from this huge pipe. Using a tape measure, we measure out a meter of 20 and mark it with a marker. From the side, we drill a hole with a screwdriver and then cut the pipe with a jigsaw. Now we're going to draw along and cut the pipe into exactly 2 parts. Now we will make a stand out of wood. To do this, we cut a large board into 2 parts, circle the outer diameter of the pipe, and cut it with the jigsaw. With sandpaper, we knock down all of the burrs. 2 such details are needed. We need a wide board to put between them and tighten everything with screws. Two large semicircles were also carved out of wood, and 3 smaller ones, but at the same time they were twice as wide. We put half of the pipe on the stand, lubricate a large semicircle with glue, and put it into the pipe. Additionally, we fix them with screws. We put the missing parts in, and our form is ready. But in order to be used, we take some small half circles and wrap them with some cling film. Done. Then we lubricate our mold with some oil. We're going to smear it along the walls. And then glue down some parchment paper. Then we put everything back in its place. Let's start our cooking with the nuts. There are 20 kilograms of them here. We transfer them into a meat grinder. And grind them through a small nozzle. Now we'll need a mélange, sugar, and cocoa. We collect 1 kilogram of crushed nuts, then turn on the mélange and pour them in. By the way, at first while the mass is dry, it can stop. Therefore, we'll help it out. Then add in some sugar and cocoa powder. After about 40 minutes, we'll get a chocolate nut paste. Let's tilt our mélange and put all of the paste into a pan. Thus, we turn 10 kilograms of nuts into the paste. Done. Now let's make our dough for the waffles. We break 48 eggs into a big gastro pan. Add 3 kilograms of sugar. For taste, we'll use some vanilla sugar. And then we go to the butter. Cut off 1.5 kilograms and put it into a saucepan. Also add 1 kilogram of margarine. Let's put all this onto the stove. Melt and pour into our big catering pan. Let's whisk our mix until it's smooth. Now we just need to pour in 3 kilograms of flour. And then finally knead the dough. Done. We scoop it up with a spoon and put it into our waffle iron. We close them And after 3 minutes, they're ready. You can get them out. And then we open up our nut paste and spread a thick layer onto the waffle. Then we glue it inside of the mold. We worked with like a conveyor belt really, and while one was making waffles, 4 waffle irons at once, the second was putting them into a mold until it was completely filled. Now let's go to the cream. We open up some bottled chicken eggs and pour them into a bowl. There are 20 eggs in each bottle, and so we have 10 of them in total. Pour in 3 kilograms of flour and mix it all with a mixer until smooth. And then we made this thicker, and we will cook the cream in such a huge saucepan. We take a lot of milk out of the refrigerator. Open them up and pour them into a large saucepan. Then we put this onto the burner, cover with the lid, and turn on the gas. As soon as the milk is heated, we add in 12 kilograms of sugar to it. And mix it all with a construction mixer. Without stopping stirring, pour in the thickener into a thin stream. You also need to melt 3 kilograms of butter. Pour this into the cream. And here are the remaining crushed nuts. Mix them into our cream. You gotta do this until it's smooth. It's already thickened up, so we pour it into our mold. We spread out the waffles with the remaining nut paste and put it on top of the cream. That's it, we send our mold into the freezer. Two days later, everything's hardened up. Therefore, we move on to the next step. We're gonna open up some milk chocolate and send it into a Marmite. Turn it on so this starts to heat up, and stirring constantly, melt that chocolate. Now it's liquid, but to make it even better on the bar, you need to add some oil. And mix. It's much more liquidy now. Now it's time to get the mold out of the freezer. We transfer the liquid chocolate onto the waffles and smear it around. We keep doing this until we cover the entire surface with chocolate. Now let's put some more chocolate in the Marmite. We put a sheet of chipboard on top of the bar and press it as hard as possible with stretch film. First, we lower the form to the floor. And then we already turn it over into this little thing covered with film. Now the stretch film can be removed. Carefully lift up the mold and tear off the parchment. open up the film around that wooden semicircle. We screw a self-tapping screw into it and take it out. And then we remove the film itself. The extra milk chocolate pellets have already been melted. Therefore, we scoop milk chocolate with a measuring cup and just pour it all over our bar. We do one more layer. And then just let the chocolate harden. Now we just need to repeat only these thin strips of dark chocolate. Therefore, put a bowl on a steam bath, put some dark chocolate into it. And constantly stirring, melt it. Our already liquid chocolate is poured into a pastry bag. And we pour this over the bar. That's it, our giant Kinder Bueno is finally ready. I think it turned out just perfect, you guys. Well, let's cut off a piece. Inside, it is very similar to the original Kinder Bueno. Let's try it. It turns out that the taste is also really similar. I think you're wondering where we're going to put this huge bar. We just simply wrapped it up in film for transportation and took it to the children's home. The children were so glad to see it. Don't forget to like this video and click on this playlist, you guys. There's still a lot of huge food left to be made. Bye, everybody.